All right, what's up there, Hoosier Nation? We're happy to announce the start of the Rock Report, brought to you by myself, Sean Wracher, and Ricky Tamis. The Rock Report is the first ever podcast led by former Hoosier players. We're going to be interviewing coaches, players, staff to show you guys the ins and outs of Hoosier football and a lot of things that fans don't see on a day-to-day basis, especially the operations, game day management, all that type of stuff.
Yeah, we got a very special guest on today for you guys. We're not going to say any names, but a little background about him. He's a two-time Scout Team Player of the Week in 2019, Indiana Offensive Newcomer of the Year in 2020, and since then has started a combined 37 starts on the offensive line for the Indiana Hoosiers. So, Sean, let's dive into the Signetti era.
Yeah, excited for the direction these guys are going.
Yeah, should be a good season. Excited, new faces all around, but a big thing that we've been seeing is the Hoosiers everywhere, um, all over college football. This past weekend on Saturday, we had a big game versus Connor Baselak, former quarterback, versus you all know Tom Allen, our former head coach. Another great game between two Hoosiers, Cam Camper and Matthew Bedford. That was a Boise State Oregon throwdown. And of course, another quarterback that we all know, Brendan Sorsby, he matched up versus defensive line, Nick James. Big Ten's a dynasty right now, Sean. They're 28-4 in non-conference. What do you think that means for college football playoffs, especially with new 12-team format?
Yeah, in all reality, I think that there's a couple of these teams are probably going to get left out that, you know, deserve a spot in this lengthened playoff. But the way the rules are, you're going to have to win your conference to get in. So I think Big Ten super talented right now, but I think across the board, I don't really see a team other than maybe Ohio State that really is excelling atop of all the other teams. So it should be interesting, kind of the way it plays out. It might come down to a game here or there to kind of see who can sneak into that Big Ten championship game.
Yeah, it's been a pretty wild first 2 weeks of college football. Still don't really know who that true number one is. Obviously, we've got some good teams. I saw AP top 25 had 6 SEC schools in the top 7. Um, Obviously, it's week 2, many more weeks to go, so we'll see how that all plays out.
Yeah, speaking of the rankings that just came out today, Indiana received one vote. I'm assuming that's got to be from Kurt Signetti or somebody in the state of Indiana.
Yeah, I did think that was on the coaches poll, so we'll see what that's about. How about you dive into Bazelak versus Tom Allen?
Yeah, so Bowling Green, Penn State, we saw former Hoosier quarterback Connor Bazelak off to a hot start versus a Penn State defense. It's led by former Indiana Hoosier coach Tom Allen. Bazelak was kind of giving them the business at the start. He seemed pretty much unstoppable. He's threw for 254 and 2 touchdowns, and most of those yards were, in the first half. It was kind of a rough game for Penn State, but Tom Allen's kind of his bread and butter is his relentless defense, takeaways, tackling, and effort. And I think that really came into play in the second half, and especially the fourth quarter, sealed the deal with 2 interceptions in the fourth and holding Bowling Green to just 3 points in the second half. So I really think that Penn State team can kind of hold out, maybe be a contender for the Big Ten championship. I think Coach Allen, yeah, we may have struggled a little bit here at Indiana, but dude knows how to coach a defense. So it should be interesting to see, the way they play out. And I think James Franklin really has a good formula going there for him.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that defense helping him out. I mean, the offense is a little sluggish in those first 2 games. Uh, you got to put up points to beat Bowling Green, but I could imagine that halftime locker room from Tom Allen, that speech kind of gave him a little relax, relax. Probably could verbatim exactly what he said. Heard it for a few years, but yeah, let's dive into a little Pac-12 After Dark that no longer exists. We have Big Ten now After Dark. We had a huge matchup with Matthew Bedford, Oregon Duck offensive lineman. Unfortunately, he has been week to week, a little dinged up in fall camp, but he should be good to go soon. But most importantly, Cam Camper, former wide receiver for the Hoosiers, had a breakout night, 151 yards, 8 catches, 1 touchdown, proving he's still the reliable offensive weapon that he is. That game was down to the wire, Sean. I mean, I think Oregon kicked a chip shot with 3 seconds to go to win the game. Uh, Heisman running back on that team, Ashton Genty, he might win it all. Who knows? Great team though. Could see them really taking that fifth spot of that group of five in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think Boise's one that'll likely sneak in there. I think they've got a pretty easy schedule from here on out, but just talk about the playoffs, talk about resume builders. Taking Oregon down to the wire is definitely a resume builder for them. And it's exciting to see a guy like Cam Camper who, was struggling a lot with his health at Indiana, but he had flashes where fans definitely saw this dude can play ball. So it should be good to see, can Boise get to the playoff? And then from there, do they compete? Or are they kind of proving, what some people think, that these G5 teams really don't deserve a spot in the playoff?
Yeah, I mean, they do have that kind of, I believe it's the fifth spot. The first four go to conference champions, and the fifth four go to the best group of five. That fifth spot. So it's pretty much up for grabs. NIU's big win with that Maction. They might take it too. Yeah, that was a great game, Boise and Oregon. But let's turn it over to Sorsby's. Been at a pretty hot start over at Cincinnati. They just played Pitt in a unfortunate loss kind of in that fourth quarter. It kind of fell apart. Pitt won by one, but we did see two Hoosiers on the field there. So take it away.
Yeah, so Brendan Sorsby and the Scott Satterfield Cincinnati Bearcats taking on Nick James of the Pitt Panthers. And it's really it was a dogfight. And Sorsby has been throwing the absolute crap out of the ball. And, they were up big at the half, but it seemed like their defense just kind of fell apart there at the end. I don't really see Pitt as an overly talented team. And I think Sorsby really took advantage of them in the air. The past two games, he's had 681 total yards, no interceptions, 5 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns. So, in my opinion, I really have always thought that kid had the talent. When he was on scout team his first year, it was a guy that Rod Carey would see and say, yeah, he's got the talent to be really, really good at this level, but he was just young. And I think you saw that last year when we threw him into our system, and he was just an 18, 19-year-old kid being thrown into Big Ten ball. A lot of times it's just not that easy for guys. So a year for him to develop, and get some games under his belt, I think helped him a lot. And as he's transferred to Cincinnati, he's starting to take off. I really see them being a bowl contender this year and kind of bring Cincinnati back to the ways they were under Luke Fickell.
Yeah, I mean, we played at Nipper. That stadium gets rocking. Pretty cool atmosphere they've got going on. But that's kind of all we got. Obviously, we got Hoosiers all over college football, but let's dive into. We do still have some Hoosiers in the NFL. So start off with Raheem Lane.
Yeah, so recent signing for the New York Giants. Raheem Lane was a tryout guy late in camp, made the roster, and he's a guy that was with the Chargers and tore his ACL and has kind of been bouncing around the workout circuit and finally landed himself on a 53. So it'd be good to see if he can get some time at safety and really be a weapon on special teams as well.
Definitely, yeah. O-line guy here, so let's give a little shout out to Caleb Jones. Caleb Jones recently signed with the New England Patriots practice squad. We saw Caleb really crack that 53-man during his tenure on the Packers. I do think we will see Caleb make this 53 kind of suit up sometime during the season for the Patriots. I mean, you can't teach a 6'8" offensive lineman. He's freaking nature. If you see him, he's huge. Really wishing him best of luck.
Yeah, bouncing over to the Kansas City Chiefs, we saw Peyton Hendershot, also known as P. Henny, get traded to the Chiefs about 2 weeks ago, joining former teammate Cam Jones. And week one, he was inactive. So hopefully, he's just learning the playbook, kind of getting the swing of things over there. And we'll see him rotate in that offense with Travis Kelce also at his position. But he had a pretty solid career in a 2 and 3 tight end system for the Cowboys. So it'll be good to see kind of the way he can flourish in a different offense with Pat Mahomes at the helm.
Definitely. We still got Dan Feeney. If anyone's seen him, that mullet and that mustache is still alive and well. Dan's going to his 8th season in the NFL, his 5th NFL team. He's a reliable offensive lineman. You don't play 8 seasons being unreliable. Wishing him luck as he takes on this year in a 1-year contract with the Vikings.
Yeah, and heading back to the Giants, Micah McFadden, Hoosier fan favorite. We all know this is a hard-nosed, gritty guy, linebacker that's going to his third NFL season after a 100-plus tackle season last year for the Giants. I just saw actually a little bit ago he was struggling with a groin injury, so he was not getting a ton of time in the game, but hopefully heals up and has a good season. He's one of those guys that he's plug and play. You put him anywhere, any team, he's going to do well.
Definitely. And last but not least, we got Nick Westbrook going on his fifth season with the Tennessee Titans. Funny story about Nick. My first ever day of class, I believe you were there sitting with me, Tobias. He's like, do you guys know where your class is? And we're like, no. And he kind of walked us through the bus map, exactly which building to go. Really good dude. He was there. It was his senior year, our freshman year. Great dude. But we're looking for another great season for Nick Westbrook. Titans should be in a pretty good situation with Will Levis at the helm. Yeah, let's throw over. This is just the NFL, but we still have a few other Hoosiers playing professional. Um, Two of those are Stevie Scott and Ty Fry. So, Sean, take that away.
Yeah, so Stevie Scott is playing for the Montreal Alouettes. Hopefully, I pronounced that right. And they're making a pretty solid playoff run. Stevie's a guy that you saw get a couple shots in the NFL and kind of bounced around UFL, CFL, but he's landed on this Montreal team that seems to be making a run at the Grey Cup. Then on the UFL side, last week we saw Ty Fry Fogel sign with the San Antonio Brahmas, and he was one of those guys that he really didn't land anywhere right after college in the NFL, but he's got the talent. If you look at that 2020 season, it's pretty obvious he's a talented receiver. And with 70 plus UFL players being brought to NFL camps this year, I really feel like this is the type of opportunity that he can flourish in and, get his career kind of kickstarted a little bit.
Definitely. Um, we also have, besides pros, do have a bunch of coaches. Many of you are familiar with them. They went on and coached at Alabama, the Alabama Hoosiers, as we like to call them. Kalen DeBoer, as everyone knows, the head coach, Kane Womack and Nick Sheridan, the defensive and offensive coordinators, and of course, David Ballou, former Indiana Hoosier strength coach. But Alabama took them to the wire, kind of USF had them on the ropes. That was not a great game for Alabama offense, but even their defense. I mean, it was, I believe, 16 to like 16 with like middle of the fourth quarter. Of course, Bama scored 28 in the fourth, but tell us a little about that game.
Yeah, I was watching the game pretty closely, and it seemed like Bama was just struggling to figure out their identity a little bit. I think what happens is when you go into a situation like that where you've got Nick Saban has built this program to be the powerhouse it is, but to throw Kalen DeBoer in, you're going to have a little bit of struggle. But Kalen is the guy that his formula works, and you've seen that at every school he's been from D2 all the way through. He's never been to a place and lost, and I think he is really one of the people that a lot of Hoosiers fans might not have, realized at the time, but that 2019 season, I would attribute most of our success to the Kalen DeBoer Kane Womack duo. I think as coordinators, these guys are smart and they've had success as head coaches. And these are the type of guys that can be at Alabama for a really, really long time.
Definitely. Enough about the other teams. So let's talk about Indiana Hoosiers starting the season 2-0. They head into Big Ten play, going to the Rose Bowl. Kind of a word that hasn't been flirted out in a long time. Indiana Hoosiers playing in the Rose Bowl. Who would have thought? But new conference realignments. They're heading to UCLA next week. Two big home wins. Where do they stand? What does the two wins mean? And what's the future success for this team?
Yeah, I really like where Indiana's at right now as an organization. I think on the come up, I obviously think that schedule's a lot more favorable, not having the East and West divisions of the Big Ten. But I also think that there will be there will be something when you bring in all of these outside players as transfers, all these outside coaches, you might have a couple games in there where you struggle. But this team is very, very likely to get to a bowl game. I think Kurt Signetti's formula works. He's shown that just as Kalen DeBoer's shown that, just on different levels. You know what I mean? So I feel like we're in a good spot. And I feel like as Kurt Signetti kind of grows the winning culture at Indiana, I really think this program can, become a consistent I don't know if I would say a powerhouse, but a consistent winning program. If you look at programs like, take Rutgers, for instance, what they've done in the past couple of years with Greg Schiano has just been, let's get consistent, win the ball games we're supposed to win, to go to bowl games. And as Indiana fans, that's really what you want. You want a coach that just consistently wins 6 games, goes to bowl games, and recruits well.
Yeah, I mean it's they've had kind of a troubled past 2 years as we've seen while we were there. But I do see kind of a little bit on the rise with Signetti, but you do have to attribute it to that schedule, conference realignment. You're not having that kind of three big games in a row with that Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan. But another thing is the 2 games off the bat, FIU and Western Illinois. I remember we opened with Ohio State a couple years. That's like not the best to get into rhythm, especially with a brand new coach. Uh, I'm glad that Scott Dolson is kind of making that change. I know we had Louisville on the schedule, but that kind of went away and we played Western Illinois instead. I know it's kind of an easy win, free win, but you need those games in a big program to kind of set the future, kind of set the tone, give everyone the game reps that they need.
Yeah, and I also think from a player development standpoint, those games are so valuable. People really don't understand that with the new rules with redshirting, you can have guys play 4 games. So if you don't have those so-called cupcake games up at the front end of your schedule, you're really giving some of these younger guys no chance to develop. And I think that's why we've seen a lot of Indiana players transfer out at young ages lately, just because there's there's no development in games. Practice can only do so much. I mean, you're in the Big Ten, you're going up against a different beast of football. As much as we can get these guys to, throw their younger players in the games, like when you're winning 70 some to whatever it was, you're getting guys in there, building their confidence, and then you can just roll right into next year. And there's not questions about, do these guys have the experience?
Definitely. Glad to see a lot of young guys get on the field, especially Jack Greer and Max Williams. Really cool thing to see kind of those walk on offensive linemen have a nice role, get on the field. Um, let's talk a little bit about kind of the new concessions, new kind of stadium day to day stuff that they've changed on that game day. I know we've seen Buffalo's in there, awesome social cantina. Really cool to see some local spots kind of take over the stadium.
Yeah, I'm really excited to get out there and see the new just operations, the new restaurants. Really excited to see Ed from Buffalo's, great friend of the podcast. But I think there's a sort of disconnect right now between the fans and the players and the program, and a lot of stuff I'm seeing, especially on Twitter, people complaining about, low attendance and students leaving early and all that type of stuff. And what I really don't understand is, at what point do we stop making these issues complicated? I feel like the athletic department. I'll never talk bad about Scott Dolson. I think Scott Dolson's a great dude, but I think there's some people in this athletic department that just try to make things too complicated instead of just dumbing it down and saying, okay, we've got students leaving at halftime. Where are these students going? Students are going to the places that have cheap drinks, cool t-shirts, and a DJ. You add those 3 things together, you might see some people stay for a little bit. But, trying to get the fraternity councils involved and XYZ, you're doing too much. Give the kids reason to come to the games, sell cheap beer. People are staying.
Yeah, I know we do see a lot of kids, especially they do stay through the basketball games, Assembly Hall. There could be kind of some type of situation. I know for season ticket holders, to get those kind of top level seats, you need to have other season tickets, kind of have been through the season ticket program through a long time. Could there be some incentive for students to stay, like with they scan their ID, kind of they stay there, and then eventually they get better basketball tickets?
Yeah, I know Purdue does something like that, but they also have a couple incentives that, and to bring up Purdue, obviously not ideal, but when I was looking at the stuff on Twitter, that was a lot of people's arguments was, how does Purdue keep students at the games and we don't? And you look at it, they just incentivize it. They, have incentivized trips where if they bring students to away games, they get discounted tickets, bus ride, all this. And I think it opens the door for people to really build their love for the program. Purdue's not in a better spot than we are as a program. I just think that the way they're running things is getting fans in the seats, and I think we're on the way there. I think the introduction of the local restaurants this year really is going to help, but I also think we need to continue to upgrade things year after year and build the stadium into something people want to go to because you don't have the historical draw like Assembly Hall does.
Yeah, and I know Indiana Edits kind of asked us this question on Twitter, kind of the impact it has on players. And it kind of being there, we had a few games that obviously you see on Twitter, their first quarter student section is popping. We go into for halftime and we walk out and it's empty. And as a player, you do look at that. That's kind of the first thing you see as you walk out of the doors. And you're like, damn, where'd everyone go? I don't think as a player, you try and have an effect on yourself with that. But it definitely does kind of the whole atmosphere. You walk out there and everyone's gone. It's a little quiet. It's a little kind of a weird feeling.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that obviously winning will help. I mean, there's no doubt there. But at the same time, Rome wasn't built in a day, right? And you see flashes of hope, but on the contrary, I feel like I've seen basketball fans that support these programs and you're not getting results. You're not making the tournament every year. So at what point is, the excuses enough and do we fix the problem? Do we incentivize things for the students? And do we give fans a reason to come to a nice stadium?
Definitely. Indiana Edits, we thank you for that question. If anyone wants to ask us any more questions, you can hit us on Twitter, now known as X, at the Rock Report IU. That is our at. But we do have our special guest in the waiting room, kind of the moment everyone's been waiting for. So, Sean, if you want to kind of let him in, we'll introduce him. I hope our hints kind of helped you guys out, but not going to say anything till you see his face.
Here we go. All right, guys, hailing from Gibsonia, Pennsylvania, son of Mary Beth and the real big Mike Katic, the Nightcrawler number 56, Michael Katic. Mike, excited to have you. How you doing?
Hey, boys. You guys got me?
Yes, yeah, well, your thumb's in the way, but we're good. What's up, Mike? Can you hear us well?
Good to go.
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, so Mike, a big thing that you probably know, you've seen, we always send you screenshots of these type of things. You kind of trend a lot on Twitter. Your headshot gets thrown around. You get kind of everyone's kind of says you look like a plumber, 50-year-old. Where are your kids? We're all the same age. I know Mike doesn't have a kid, but some people on Twitter think you have kids. How do you feel about the fan reactions?
I love them. It's super entertaining when every time our media team posts something, I know because they never post good pictures of me. I always look insane. So I just know right away that I'm gonna get absolutely shambled on Twitter and social media, but I love it. I think it's funny, and all you boys think it's good too. So,
yeah, it's definitely some good content. Give us kind of we're gonna ask you two favorite memory questions. Give us one that's not in college, kind of football memory.
Definitely winning the state championship junior year of high school. At Hershey Park, snowing, and we beat St. Joe's Prep, which is like always the best team in Pennsylvania. So that's probably my favorite non-college moment.
Yeah, how about college?
It's got to be Penn State overtime.
Yeah, I know there is a great picture kind of floating around of you kind of hands in the air. Kind of, it's pretty funny.
Was that? That wasn't that game.
No, that was the Penn State game at the end. You're running around the field.
Oh, I thought you meant the one of me in the locker room. That's also
no. Now everything seems to fly around with your face on it.
Yeah. No, definitely Penn State 2020. Growing up a Penn State fan and then getting my first start against them and beating them in overtime and then, having that year that we did. So yeah, I think that for sure.
All right, keeping it going, Mike. Favorite thing about IU, Bloomington, Indiana?
There's so much stuff. The campus and the people. Um, just the friends you make, all you guys chilling. Just porch sitting with the boys. There's a lot of stuff to like. The food, obviously.
That's
And
our next question, actually. So just roll with it. Go to campus eats.
Fat Dan's for sure.
Good pick.
That's number one. I mean, there's so many. I like Five Guys on Kirkwood. I mean, all like the classic Chipotle. But like Bloomington, definitely Fat Dan's number one. Maybe Chubby's.
Solid picks. All right. So you got to team up with Coach Signetti to win an Olympic sport. What do you pick?
Probably. Oh God. Is it like an individual sport or a team sport?
Either or.
I mean, it's probably the closest thing to football, rugby. Probably that.
Good pick. All right. So
what would you pick?
I don't know the guy.
I like
sure.
Double volleyball, like 2-on-2, something like that.
Table tennis, anything.
He's talking volleyball, bro.
All right. So a big part of this podcast going forward is going to be showing fans kind of the ins and outs of Indiana football. Support staff members, a big one. So question for you, favorite support staff member and why?
Mike Paycheck. Just because he's been here since I got here. He's just the boy, man. He is, every time I have a question or a problem or something, I just text him. He responds pretty quickly. So, yeah, Paycheck's my guy.
All right, next one. So, Mike Katic gets out of his 3 p.m. Zoom class. What's your favorite locker room snack?
Oh, Uncrustables, dude. They're 300, like they're almost 400 calories. But I mean, I pound those. Rick, I know you know about those.
I know you know about it, but I need it from your mouth. I need to hear you say it. We could probably get you an NIL deal maybe for Uncrustables, kind of Smuckers.
Smuckers Uncrustables deal.
Yeah.
Probably
so if anyone
okay,
from
but the
Smuckers
question
is
though
hearing
is, do you go grape or strawberry?
Grape. Right.
Okay, pick a bowl game. Where do you want to go?
I mean, the 2 Florida bowl games were fun, but it was hot. Probably like I like the Music City Bowl in Nashville would be cool. Or maybe like a Texas bowl game. Something, yeah, probably one of those two. I don't know.
Hot.
Yeah, 2 more hot places. But kind of, Mike, you already posted your NFL kind of draft declaration. Obviously, you came back to Indiana. What's kind of life like next steps for Mike Katic after college football? Kind of, obviously, this is your last year of eligibility.
Yeah. Well, obviously, the dream is to play in the NFL, but if it happens, it happens. If not, like, I mean, I'm kicking around some ideas. Like after going to Big Ten Media Day, I kind of was like, maybe my calling's in front of a camera or something, like talking. I can't work like an office job.
Maybe the Rock Report podcast.
Yeah, like that's a great
maybe jumping off a rope, kind of.
Yeah,
wrestling other men.
WWE, broadcasting something, but can't do an office job. Can't do the cubicle and the 9 to 5. Drive me nuts.
Fair enough. Well, we're going to try and end our podcast on this segment kind of every time. Everyone saw that we posted a few boom and dooms, kind of IU football week 1 and 2, but this week, shout out to Big Justice and AJ, the Costco guys on TikTok. Everyone knows who those guys are. We're going to do a quick hitter, boom or doom. We're going to kind of name a few things. Bloomington Establishment, Food Edition with offensive lineman Mike Katic. We'll start it off. Kind of already mentioned this, but let's go. Fat Dan's.
Boom.
Sakura 15.
Boom.
The vid bouncer.
Doom.
Locker room tuna packets.
Doom.
Tobias Sunday, specifically in 2019.
Boom.
All right, keeping it going. Bo Robbins Aldi Taco Bowl.
Dude, that's a huge
Fazoli's,
doom.
especially from Isaac.
Doom.
Luke
Terrible
Lane's canned chicken dinner.
doom.
Gable's Bagels.
Boom.
Sunday mornings.
Monday
Yeah,
morning.
very highly controversial one here. Steak temperatures at team meals.
Say that again.
The steak temperatures at team meals.
Oh, like
The well doneness.
the medium, the well done
Yeah.
with the rubber tires. Doom.
Oh, good. Let's go to Greek's Pizzeria after getting off the stadium bus after class.
Boom.
Kilroy staff, specifically yellow shirt guys.
Boom.
IU football
Wild
nutrition
answer.
beat you. IU football nutrition
like
beat
the
you.
neon, like the neon, like the.
The
Yeah,
fellas with the
yeah.
Secret Service mics on.
Well, I mean, when I get tables, I mean, they kind of help me out, but continue.
Yeah.
Wait, what was the other one?
IU football nutrition beat you shots.
Doom.
Wee Willie's hash brown casserole.
That gets a big boom, dude.
How many booms? Boom, boom. Let's see it.
I don't know, dude. Boom, boom, baby.
There we go. Classic Wings Extreme.
Boom. Yeah,
All right, C-Mart breakfast burritos.
big boom.
2019 Dorm One Bite Challenge Big Mac.
Boom.
Tobias Cranberry Orange Pork.
Doom.
Buffalo's.
Boom.
All right, Rick, keep it going.
2019 Luke Lane full gallon of milk challenge with the Grippo chips. Canes.
Boom.
Tobias Wednesday lunch 2023.
Doom.
C-Mart breakfast sandwich.
Boom.
Trey Walker smoked meats.
Big boom. He's sitting right over there.
There we go.
All right, we got a great one next. 2019 bowl game seafood buffet right before weight check.
Okay, I'm gonna break this down. The
Yeah.
the food.
Yeah, you gotta
was
tell the
boom.
story here.
This is a good story,
Okay.
so let's hear it.
So 2019, we're at the Tax Slayer Bowl in Jacksonville, and they bring out this unbelievable buffet. And I think I had about 10 pounds of peel and eat shrimp. I mean, I ate everything. I think I gained 12 pounds. That was after night, like because you lose about 3-4 pounds in your sleep. So I probably put on like 15 pounds from that food.
Yeah, they definitely snuck that weight check up on us.
Yeah, and then wait, did somebody get food poisoning?
Peter Schultz got food poisoning. Yeah, he did.
But
I
not the
didn't know
guy
if
that
it was
ate
food-
15
yeah.
pounds.
No.
Yeah, dude, that was brutal.
All right, keeping it going. College Mall, specifically Chipotle.
Oh, boom.
All right, bouncing it back on the other side. Kirkwood Chipotle.
On what time? What time of
Not
the year?
non-summer school year.
Oh, doom.
All right, KOK Waterlongs.
Boom.
Sink the Biz at Nick's.
Boom.
All right, big one for you, Butch's Deli. Rest in peace.
Oh, that is such a boom, dude. And it's so sad to see where it is now. Because when we had that thing rolling, dude, that was awesome.
Yeah, another good story. And Mike, you got to tell this one. Your Butch's Deli story here.
What, when the food challenge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the guy that owned or was owned Butch's at the time. I think his name was Jared. And he loved when the boys came in, like the O-line and stuff. And then one day he was like, let's do a food challenge. And they had these huge subs with like, I mean, they had burger patties, chicken tenders, mod sticks, fries, ketchup. Butch's. And it was first one to finish it wins. And I won. I got a $100 gift card, and I think I got like something like that. And all the alignment got 50 or 100 gift card. And
fair enough. Let's keep the train going. Rocket Pizza.
Boom.
Crock Pots.
I'm gonna go boom here.
Big one. Luke Lane's ketchup roll-ups.
The bologna?
The bologna ketchup
Yes.
roll-ups, yeah.
Bologna and cheese from the C-Mart. Oh my god. Doom. Dude, that guy is unbelievable.
Unbelievable he is. 2021 Kalau.
Boom.
Mother Bear's 2019 fall camp box.
full
Post meeting.
The full
pie, breadsticks, and a brownie. Yep.
Boom, dude.
Chow bar.
Boom.
All right, final two here. We got Chubby's. You already talked about before.
Boom. Boom.
Final boom or doom question right here. It's actually not a boom or doom, but final question for you. Hash brown or no hash brown? If you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to go to Bloomington and go to the C-Mart.
Obviously, hash brown. It adds so much.
All right. That's all we got question-wise. Appreciate you being on the podcast, Mike.
Let's go, boys.
That's our boom and doom. We're gonna try and get one every week. Switch it up based off who we're interviewing.
Make sure when Greer and Max come on, dude, you need more food ones. They're nuts. They're nuts with food. Dairy Queen.
They're worse than you.
Oh my god, they're unbelievable for a sweet treat.
Nice little sweet treat. But yeah, that's 5'6", your Indiana football starting center. 37 games, now probably 38 under your belt. Still going strong. We're excited to see you soon. We'll be at the homecoming game, Mike.
Yes.
Keep going.
Yeah, good luck this year, Mike. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Appreciate you, boys.
All right, Hoosier fans. Thank you guys for listening this week. Great interview with Mike Katic. Excited to see what happens this week as the Hoosiers go to the Rose Bowl at UCLA and really how they contend in Big Ten play getting going.
Yeah, good luck for the Hoosiers as they head over to Pasadena playing the Rose Bowl. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll be coming back next Sunday with another special pair of guests. These two work closely on the field together. Just special guests. We're not going to give you any hints today, but we'll give you some hints during the week. Thank you all. Have a good one.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening, and we're looking forward to dropping a new podcast next week.